Right, so in today's video, I'm going to give you a little backstory on, a little beef, a little kind of crazy thing that's going on around the sidelines of this whole OTF Lil Durk case. And I'm going to give you some backstory about one of the most infamous and feared figures really in the Chicago streets at large, but definitely when it comes to OTF and the whole hierarchy around Lil Durk's crew that were allegedly doing a whole lot of criminal activity behind the scenes. Okay, so this video, I'm going to be talking about this legendary Chicago street character, okay, THF Bayzoo. Now, you might know him from his legendary song with King Von, Beat That Body. If you don't know, both of these fools beat bodies, okay? They beat murder cases, came out around the same time. They hopped on the song Beat That Body, and it was classic. This was probably King Von's first real official release. THF Bayzoo and King Von, they came together. They said, yo, we really beat bodies out here. And they let the world know what it was. And then as the years went on, THF Bayzoo had a little bit of success in the music industry. Maybe didn't quite reach the same heights as King Von. But from what I understand, THF Bayzoo wasn't quite on the level of street drill activity that King Von was on. King Von allegedly had 7 bodies. Now, there's rumors that THF Bayzoo might have been connected to 3 Chicago murders. But there's been a lot of controversy going on behind the scenes with Bayzoo. And specifically, the reason why his name has been brought up again in the media is because he was actually mentioned in this paperwork where Lil Durk was basically, it was alleged that Lil Durk had actually been planning and plotting to have O Block members killed for not sliding for Von. That was King Von's gang. They're all black disciples. O Block is King Von's hood, where he's from. Okay, Lil Durk's from Lamron. He got connections with other gangs, other street figures, other offshoots of that gang. Lamron, threats to everybody, all of this kind of stuff. TTE, Tay-Town, all of these connections. But Bayzoo was really a serious guy. He was very higher up in the OTF hierarchy, and he was mentioned in this paperwork. Okay, not too bad. He wasn't accused of any crimes, but it was alleged that he was part of a group chat amongst OTF members, all right, where Durk was planning to have people hurt. This says an April 2023 Instagram chain, so I guess it was an Instagram group chat between these guys. Crazy to be communicating like this, planning hits on Instagram. But this was interesting because this related to somebody separate to the beef. It said another text chain between Defendant Banks, Defendant Wilson, DD, OTF Booney Mo, who hasn't been indicted as part of this, but he's all over this paperwork, and Devon Shea Collier, who is THF Bayzoo. So he's in there. He's in these group chats where criminal activity is going on. And a lot of people have been wondering why he hasn't been picked up and wrapped up in this case. And it allegedly shows Durk forwarding an Instagram message that he sent to rival Richard Ramsey, okay, who's Lamron Richo, saying, I got them hunting you up. You boys better have 3 ski masks on. Okay. Now, this is a Chiracology post pointing out that THF Bayzoo was mentioned in here. People are saying, do you think he'll be picked up by the feds next? And people are saying, isn't this just a message of Durk threatening Richo? So they're saying, look, Durk's the one causing all the problems. Bayzoo hasn't been arrested. Okay, people are saying THF Zoo, he was simply in a group chat, all right? He could very much have had nothing to do with it. He was simply in the group chat. People saying, obviously, they don't have evidence on him or they would have got him, okay? But saying, don't you think if that man did something, he would have been picked up? Y'all just be going off stuff. You don't know the real from fake. People saying Zoo ain't getting locked up. He's a changed man. They're saying Bayzoo probably had some thoughts, of course, but they would have to go deeper than just this text message. They would have to go through money transfers, transactions, any suspicious purchases, but hopefully Bayzoo just had thoughts of sliding for Von and just continue to move past it without retaliation or involvement. Okay, of course, saying if true, can't believe everything you see on the internet. People are pointing out that Bayzoo's been hella quiet lately. They're saying that he's laying low after the feds caught OTF. They're saying he's in the background of a couple of music videos, but he's not really active out there. Now, what's really interesting is that this situation has developed, okay? Lamron Richo, who the feds are saying that Lil Durk and his crew were conspiring to have killed. He said, you better have 3 ski masks on because we're out there hunting you. Well, Lamron Richo, who federal prosecutors described as a rival and who they claimed that Durk told him to have them ski masks on, all right, they portrayed it as Durk was unleashing his OTF associates to track down him. He has now publicly come out saying free smirk. Now, clearly he either is not feeling any type of way about these guys saying that they're hunting him, or he's abiding to that street code of like, look, even if we're beefing, I don't want to see you go to prison. I don't want to see you going back and forth, going to jail. Even if you want to kill me, I don't want to see you locked up. So this is interesting, right? Lamron Richo himself is saying free smirk. Some people were saying that this was a win against the prosecutors. Realistically, this doesn't really mean anything. They're going to use them group chats regardless. But a lot of people have been hating on THF Bayzoo, okay? There was an infamous exchange between DJ Academics and Lil Zay Osama. If you don't know Lil Zay Osama, okay, he came out of jail recently, and he apparently has been at war with THF Bayzoo's crew, THF, after allegedly a couple of watches were stolen by THF members. And Lil Zay Osama, he was basically claiming, yo, like, 2 watches got stolen and 5 people lost their lives. And he was low-key dry snitching, basically saying that, bruh, a couple of murders that you know about were committed by my guys about them watches. Now, he had choice words for THF Bayzoo. He said that Bayzoo was broken back in the hood wearing a wife beater.
Zoo a good nigga. But he back in the trenches fucked up wearing white beaters all day. Yeah, I mean, that's just what it is. He ain't do the right thing with the little money he was getting, man.
So he said, look, Bayzoo didn't do the right thing with that money that he was getting when he was hanging around with Dirk. And a lot of people on Reddit had the same sentiment, okay? There was this one post going around. It said all the OTF members are starving without Dirk. And it was a compilation of pictures that seemed to depict people that had been affiliated with OTF down bad, okay? They got Chucky. He buying lottery tickets. He hoping to hit another lick because that Lil Dirk lottery ticket didn't quite land. And then they posted this one. This is THF Bayzoo. He's saying, if you know anyone with property, building, homes, offices, or places of business, hit the DM. I got smoke detectors for the low. Now, I'm not going to lie. I'm not sure if I would buy a smoke detector for my office, for my place of business, for my home, or for the hitters from Chicago. But hey, he might have got these from, I don't know where these came from. I don't know how he got his hands on these smoke detectors for the low. But he was out there moving smoke detectors, man. A lot of people were clowning him, basically saying that's crazy. That that you would actually end up back sell it, or not even back. This is probably the first time he sold smoke detectors, and that's no disrespect, man. I respect the hustle, let everyone get their bread. But a lot of people thought this meant that the guys from OTF weren't doing so well. It says, damn, they didn't stash any bread. It reminds me of when Juice WRLD died and Cairo started selling green drank right after. Okay, people saying back to the drawing board. It says, I'm blown away by the fact that Zoo is walking the streets. Bro been arrested for a body, an attempt, and switches in the past few years. Now Dirk's getting arrested for multiple murder for hires. It's just crazy to me that Zoo didn't get somehow picked up in that indictment. This guy say, you know what? It's funny. I was thinking the same thing. I guess they were letting those connected to Dirk out just because he was the bigger target. Either that, or hopefully the ones who's always crashing out could lead to a trail of something bigger. Okay. It's saying, they already made statements and they're witnesses in the federal trial. It says, if that were the case, it seems unlikely they would just let Bayzoo go. If Zoo cut a deal where he was going to testify, the feds would probably keep him locked up until he actually does, right? Like they did with 6ix9ine. Otherwise, bro could do what Big Mike or Tay did and just refuse to take the stand. I could be completely off base, but it seems stupid to let a witness walk free around the city when they have ops that could smoke him at any time, especially when they could ensure both his safety and cooperation by keeping him locked. Now, look, for everything that I know about Bayzoo's persona in these streets, all right, I would find it very hard to believe that he was cooperating personally, all right? And I've not seen any evidence to indicate that that might be the case. People are saying this would be the last dude to buy smoke detectors from, especially from your business, saying he probably got air tags in them so they can rob the person. They hungry as hell, right? It's crazy, man. It's actually crazy, okay? But selling smoke detectors is the most egregious hustle I have ever seen on here. It says he needs to hit up a city housing authority. I'm sure they'd snag the whole pallet on a deal. Get all the units, new smoke detectors. He might be on a come up. Bayzoo might be thinking bigger than all of us, man. If he actually doing work with the government providing smoke detectors, you never know. All right. That says, what entity is going to trust the safety of their property and tenants on smoke detectors bought off the street? Good luck explaining that to the insurance company if it fails to work when needed. Why risk it when buying them from bulk from a legit source is relatively cheap? Okay, so people are hating, all right? People are clowning. And Cam Capone would actually press Lil Zay Osama on the issue that he had with Zoo in another interview.
You said some things about Bayzoo, that he's broke, What is your thoughts on that? Because I think you said that Bayzoo, it wouldn't be able to, like you felt like you'd have been able to get it back, to watch his back if it was you.
I mean, hell yeah, for sure. It ain't no if. I would have. If a did some snake shit to a I'm cool with, or that my people in business with, or doing business with, anything, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, no, you wrong, you bogus, don't do that. You can't do that, you know what I'm saying? I'll get into it with it over that, like, for even doing some shit like that on my name, on my watch, like, you feel what I'm saying? Like, no, you don't do shit like that to people, you feel me? And He could have stopped it. He could have went and got it back. Or maybe he couldn't. Who knows? See what I'm saying?
So he's saying that Bayzoo should have stepped in when it came to the stolen watches. He could have got it back. He could have governed the block and let everybody know that they shouldn't play with Lil Zay. He's an ally. He's got songs with Dirk. He's cool with them. It just shouldn't have been happening.
But I was cool with folks, you feel me? We used to be talking, we used to be cool, you get what I'm saying? So I was expecting him to make that shit right so it won't be no extra shit behind it, you know what I'm saying? And he couldn't.
I seen a post and they were accused.
So he was hoping that he could have made it right, man. He could have made things right behind the scenes, and it didn't happen, and that's why there's some bad blood between him and Bayzoo. That's why he's calling out Bayzoo, all these guys stealing watches, they're selling smoke detectors. He said, why not? I'm just going to diss him, okay? But Bayzoo has clapped back. This is the thing. With all of this stuff going on, Bayzoo is clearly, he's listening. He's got his ear to the streets. He's silent, but he's lurking in the shadows. And he is letting people know he got a whole lot of money, okay? So he posted this 12 days ago. That said, people commenting, I thought you said he was back in the trenches effed up, but Bayzoo posted up with a whole gang of money, okay? A whole bunch of cash money, all right? Maybe he sold them smoke detectors and he came up. Okay, but he's posted, he said, in the trenches, clicked up with my tank on, heavy on thugging in public, N-words can't beat me in nothing but lying and dying. Ricky to the flow all weekend. I was born a star, I don't pop it because I'm putting it up. Free smirk, long live my brothers, ape emoji, happy 6th day to the biggest slime, snake, die Y, 6,300K. Now that 6,300, that's some of them guys associated with Lil Zay Osama, okay? And they saying that they was really at war about them watches with THF, okay? And there's been, I believe there's been people from 6,300 that have lost their life or got hurt in this beef. So he's popping it on Lil Zay Osama. He's clapping back. He's saying, bruh, it's all cap. And people are believing it. In the Reddit comments, they're saying, this is why you don't believe anything you see on the internet. Clearly, Bayzoo's got his money. They're saying Lil Zay is a good shit talker like Mimo. They have you believing Elon Musk went broke the way that they be going crazy. They're saying 6,300K. Zuka T back on bully time, man. They're saying Zuka T, the Zuka G. People are loving that, man. They're saying on Carl who broke. Okay, they're saying he must have sold all them fire alarms, man. He must have came up. They're saying Zoo back on his BS. People saying, how long you think it took him to write that caption? Autocorrect, having working overtime with that one. Okay, must have sold all them fire alarms, man. Anyone tried the Cheerios Oat Crunch? They got the Cheerios Oat Crunch in the back. Cheerios there. I've tried those recently. They were nice, man. I was rocking with the Cheerios. Probably better than the Durkios, if I'm honest with you. I'm saying a dude like me would have put up a flick and some dirty Air Force Ones talking about I ain't got nothing. I don't need nobody begging in my DM, man. They're saying you still impressed by these money stack pictures. Some people aren't impressed. Some people are. Okay, they're saying this just proved the internet be getting to him. Everybody's saying he effed up, so I guess he had something to prove. But then people are saying he's a long way from effed up, but I know his pops, and he's definitely lying low because of Dirk's case. People online are stupid, okay? They're saying, dude, see him in one picture in a tank top online and say effed up. If being in a tank top says that you're broke, man, Young Thug must be in millions of dollars of debt. All right, people saying, hey, Bayzoo, you need to hook it up, man. Hook me up with a smoke detector. They say he sells the best smoke detectors on Facebook Marketplace. They come already beeping with a half-dead battery. Saying for grandson, Zoo will come, man. You know that classic lyric. But anyway, okay, the ops would actually clap back and say that, yo, that ain't even your money. Capping, you're bapping, all right? They're saying this is 051 Kymion. Okay, he's posting this about the Zoo and Shoebox, saying the ops are so effed up, they're posting other dudes' stash money and uploaded old screenshots of money. They're sad as hell. They need to get it together. And he added Bayzoo and Shoebox Baby in that one, okay? And they're saying that this is the same man that was posting, grinning, hype that he was going to the YB concert. But I had a sick time of that YB concert, okay? It says, throughout this war, I never heard the GD side say that the BDs was broke. Either Smirk being locked up really got dudes down bad, or he's lying. I know 0518 GDs, but they're still considered on that side of the war, okay? They're saying, look, okay. Basically, Bayzoo responded once again. He's posted another video of him with a whole bunch of money. It looked like it was the same money in the same settings, but he posted this, man. He said, OTF, THF Bayzoo responds to the internet troll saying he's gone broke and is back in the hood effed up since his gang leader, Lil Durk, aka our holy leader, Mustafa Abdul Malak, the 5-star war general, has been locked for a murder for hire conspiracy case. So this is the full video of him showcasing that.
You already know how I'm coming, though, man. Niggas say I'm out here in the trenches, tank top on. You know, I had to put the tank on for their ass, you know? Guess that tank top wearing off, huh, bitch? Broke ass niggas, I don't even pop it like this. I ain't popping enough, you hear me? I ain't ducking shit but the feds and death, you hear me? You know what the fuck going on, man?
Hit that bitch again, Wow. Let them hit that bitch. Let them hit that. Hold on. Let them hit that bitch. That shit hot, yeah. That shit hot, yeah.
So they got all type of whips, all
That
type of
shit
money,
hot,
cash
that
money,
boy, hey,
foreigns. You know
Y'all
what I
better
mean?
stop playing these Rick down to the floor, man. Die wild forever,
From the
man.
head to the toe.
Troublemaker. Trouble.
Bayzoo saying he die Y forever, man. That's Young Money. They're saying they're die Y. They're, you know what I'm saying? They're Young Money K. He in the vet. So actually, it's not foreign. If it's a Corvette, it's not foreign. Sorry, everybody. Sorry for all. Sorry to disappoint all of you guys. Well, not worldwide, nationwide in America, man. That Corvette, that's a domestic car, man. Ain't no foreign, man. Sorry to hurt your feelings, but ain't no foreign.
Double trouble forever, man.
I'm 2 days on a Ricky Smiley, man.
And we got Big Bro on the phone,
Rick
man.
up top,
Shout out
man.
Big Bro. Bankroll Records, ATM shit.
You know what's going on,
Fuck
man.
is you talking about? Look, this is how we coming. THF or death, nigga, just like that.
It's a THF or death, man. So they still repping that THF to the death, man. So I don't want to catch a copyright, but they're showing off the money. All right, they took the money out of the kitchen, all the smoke detector money, all the smoke detector earnings, man. They put up in that big Louis duffel to show off riding that vet. Not quite foreign, but it's still a lot of money. But look, okay, people are basically just in the caption. All right, that's right. Show the feds them stacks. They know he ain't getting money from no damn music. Right? They're saying do not disrespect him. All right, but they're basically saying Bayzoo ain't broke on Carl, man. Fall back. Okay, keep selling them smoke detectors. All right, but hey, he might come off of the smoke detectors. People saying he's pretty much the leader, the chief of THF. Ain't too hard to trap if you got a whole set taking directions from you. THF a lot deeper than y'all think, okay? And THF is a lot deeper than y'all might think, okay? If you saw my video, Chicago's Deadliest Gangs, THF, the Trigger Happy Family, I did a full 3-hour breakdown of the whole history between THF, Young Money, the whole situation with the watches going missing, and I've got a whole chapter in this video about Bayzoo. So look, all right? Let's just react to some of the backstory I got on Bayzoo, because you might be wondering how the hell this guy ended up becoming so respected, you know, so revered, so disrespected. Everybody got an opinion about Bayzoo. Bayzoo in everybody's mouth in Shy Recology right now, okay? So I did a whole breakdown. I've got about 30 minutes of content here on Bayzoo in my documentary. If you want to see that, go and watch that. Let's have a little preview. Let's just educate ourselves on a little bit. You know, there's allegedly 3 bodies that he's associated with, and let's just have a little recap of that, and then I'll let you guys go. And if you want to watch that whole thing in its entirety, go over to my main channel, Trap Law Wash, and check that out. The most best-known THF member of all time, THF Bayzoo, whose career in both the streets and the rap scene spanned well over a decade, during which Bayzoo would both taste the fame and fortune while touring the country with Lil Durk, while also ending up being a murder charge that dated all the way back to 2009. And if online rumors are true, that might not be the only murder that Bayzoo was connected with. Devontae Collier, better known as THF Bayzoo, or Bebe, or Zoo, experienced a childhood defined by the harsh socio-economic conditions of Chicago's former Cabrini Green housing projects.
I was born and raised in Cabrini Green, man.
Right.
That's the near north side of Chicago, you know what I'm saying? My mother stayed in the projects. My grandmother, she stayed on Mohawk and Black Hawk.
A public housing complex constructed in the 1940s to accommodate war industry workers and veterans quickly deteriorated due to municipal disinvestment, poor maintenance, and systemic neglect. The area that they built Cabrini Green in had a long history of poverty and violence. It was formerly called Little Hell, named after burning factory smokestacks and crime that plagued its residents. It was Chicago's first slum, the birth of both the Chicago Irish and Chicago Italian mafias, during a time when gang members conducted broad daylight shootings with little repercussion. By the 1950s, the Chicago Housing Authority put in place Chicago housing projects all around the city, one of those being Cabrini Green. By the late 20th century, it had become synonymous with poverty, gang violence, and urban blight, earning a reputation as one of Chicago's most dangerous neighborhoods.
Perhaps the most notorious of the housing authority's so-called vertical ghettos was Cabrini Green. In just the first 3 months of 1981, Cabrini saw nearly 50 shootings.
My children have to go to school, and I will say I am afraid over here.
The cops, of course, they didn't really care. You know, these are black kids killing black kids, you know? One less black kid.
In 1981, Mayor just want to say for the record, yeah, for everybody that likes to hate on me and says, Trap Law Ross, all you do is read Reddit comments. All you do is read Reddit comments. Bro, this is deep history. We're looking at vintage archive footage, Chicago Tribune articles from decades ago. I'm telling you what actual projects that this guy hails from and what made him a demon, what he's actually the socio-economic background of the steppers, okay? You ain't seen a Reddit comment yet. And don't worry, I got Reddit comments in this video for you. I got all the Reddit theories, but look, For anybody who says you only talk about, oh, you just recycle shit on Reddit, hell no, bro. We be digging deep. And shout out to all of my team. We all dig deep into different angles on these stories, okay? And we try and get you everything that you need to know to fully understand somebody's backstory, for the record. Jane Byrne moved into these projects for a total of 3 weeks to prove to the city that with constant police present, crime and gangs would go away.
She was coming home one Saturday, and she said to the driver, take me through Cabrini. So as they were driving through, there was a paddy wagon, and they were putting a girl into it. She said, pull over and find out what that's all about. So they came back to the car, and they said the girl had been gang raped. She was 12. So Janie said, well, I'm moving in.
Her point was indeed proven, as during her 3 weeks, many of the gangs fled the area, but as soon as she left, it returned to the same conditions.
During the mayor's time at Cabrini, elevators were fixed, trash pickup resumed, and violent crime subsided, even if just for a few weeks.
To give you an idea of the conditions, Cabrini Green was where they shot large parts of the terrifying 1992 horror film Candyman, and various gang tags would be visible throughout said movie, including the Mickey Cobras, the gang that Bayzoo became part of.
Everybody probably think Bayzoo BD because Dirk and them. No, Bayzoo is an MC from right around this area, from the Greens.
As the city began demolishing its projects like Cabrini Green in the early 2000s as part of a broader urban renewal initiative, many of its residents moved down south.
I got a name out there too, like, you know what I'm saying? I got a chance to get in the field, but I was just doing bad. Little baby kid, you feel me? I came southbound when I was like mid-teens. My OG always been out south, so I've been knowing all my brothers that's from out south since I was a puppy, you feel me?
This move proved pivotal, as Bayzoo ended up settling on 46th Street with one of his OGs.
A situation had happened or whatever when I was a kid, you know what I'm saying? I don't really want too much talk about that on the internet or whatever, but a situation happened, I had moved southbound with my OG. That's why I really jumped out the porch and made my name for myself on the south side on low end, 46th Street, you know what I'm saying?
He would become a member of 46 Lawn, which turned into 46 Terror and 46 Hit Squad. The gang then linked up with the Mickey Cobra sets on 44th and Princeton around the late 2000s and eventually created THF, or Trigger Happy Family.
Cash Money and No Limit, they had their little rap groups and shit. You know how kids when they little, they want to be something, you know what I'm saying? Like we used to hang bad as hell on 46 and Woodlawn, so like it's a mine's here right there, right now, but we used to hang there 24/7. Like when we all meet up and come outside, meet me on Woodlawn, you feel me? So we went from 46 with Woodlawn, you know what I'm saying? Then we started hanging on Princeton probably around 2008. Like 2008, some of our brothers too, you know what I'm saying?
His involvement in the gang deepened rapidly. By his own admission, he developed a passion for crime during adolescence.
I didn't get no whatever was going on around me because it's like I wanted to see it, like, but I don't know why I had a passion for that as a shorty, like. All the crimes that was happening around me, like, it was just a normal lifestyle for me because this is, you know, I grew up in poverty, you know what I'm saying? Like,
this incident marked the beginning of an extensive criminal record, would see him spend much of his high school years incarcerated.
And man, I was plotting for like 2 weeks, man. I robbed a liquor store down there. I think it was on 2nd Street, bro. I was 13 years old. I robbed a liquor store, but I was plotting with my homie. Just took a little time, you feel me? I did 4.5 years as a juvenile, so my whole high school years was over with, you feel me?
Despite his criminal pursuits, Bayzoo explored music as an outlet, beginning his rap career around 2011 with the track White Rocks that also featured THF members Billa and Tonebone. The intro of the song featured Bayzoo wearing a 4624 Hit Squad shirt, the number being a reference to the Ellis Lakeview Apartments, aka Ellis Tower, one of the gang's strongholds, while Bayzoo can be seen talking about sending his younger members to go murder someone.
Yeah, like you already know what it is, man. It's that time on phone them. What is this? They come open the door, like, yeah. Murder team, man. Have my hood murder something. It's easy, man.
Bro, literally, he's just saying outright, man. This is how Bayzoo was moving back then. To where I murdered him. I had my little shooters murder something for the. These guys are serious, man. Bayzoo's not to be played with, okay? Bayzoo is definitely not to be played with, right? All the way from way back, and you ain't seen a Reddit comment yet. It was a song of the times, a trap-influenced drug-dealing track all about selling crack and weed. While it featured no direct disses, it included members wearing shirts repping the set, together with FZCO text on the sleeves aimed at 051 Young Money and their beloved dead member. At this point in time, Bayzoo was likely taking the reins of the leadership of his set, so his talk about sending younger hitters to handle business might not have been so far from the truth. In fact, he would later become known for mentoring younger members, emphasizing strategic discretion, such as avoiding being posted up on the block after violent incidents.
Us being put up off the 6, that's not terrorizing our block, though. I told my shorty how to be smart. We don't hunt and go hang on no block. That's why all y'all did. You goof.
His affiliation with the THF 46 also intersected with prominent figures like Lil Durk, whom Bayzoo said allegedly provided with street credibility in the South Side.
Yeah, that's what happened. Durk came to the low end, and that's really how he got popular with Food No. 46 or whatever, you know what I'm saying? I don't really want to drop no names or whatever, you see what I'm saying? But yeah, they got him like in the streets, like, feel me? Like, we was hearing about him, but like, when he came to the low end, it's just like...
Zoo explained on No Jumper that he met Durk around 2009 through Durk's brother D-Thang. D-Thang had an especially close relationship with OTF Chino, who became Durk's manager, as well as a member called THF Rel.
You know what I'm saying? Rest in peace, D-Thang, bro. Like, D-Thang with the dumbbell with my brother Real. You know what I'm saying? It was D-Thang, Chino, rest in peace, Chino, Durk manager. He from my block, you know what I'm saying? So D-Thang Real, Chino ass be hung with each other, so D-Thang was on my block on the regular all the time. He introduced me to Durk like in 2008, 2009.
But that same year that Bayzoo met Durk, who would later become his main ticket out of the streets, he was also getting his hands dirty, allegedly committing a murder that would later come to haunt him right as he was on his way out. Statistically, the 2000s were a relatively peaceful time in Chicago, but compared to many other cities, the violence was still very much out of control, as one weekend in the summer of 2009 would show, with 11 people killed in less than 30 hours. One of these victims was a 21-year-old Dominic Barnes, who was found shot in the 4700 block of Forestville Avenue in front of a corner store, where 2 people walked up to him before opening fire and fleeing by car. As the news would mention, Dominic lived in the the 051 territory on the 600 block of East 51st Street, and as the original incident report would note, he was known to hang out with Mickey Cobra gang members. However, Dominic wasn't allegedly part of 051 Young Money, but rather a set known as Dirty Low, whose territory was further north around the corner of 47th and Vincennes. It would take police years before they would actually charge anyone for this murder, but finally in November 2014, they would find their guy, as CPD would arrest two people, Devontae Collier, better known as THF Bayzoo, and Dirk Banks. Yes, that Dirk Banks, Lil Dirk. Now, to be clear, only... So look, Dirk and Zoo are actually out here getting arrested in murder cases together. Right? How crazy. Better known as THF Bayzoo and Dirk Banks. Yes, that... Right? He got the weapon charge, he didn't get the murder charge, but it's in the same situation where they were arrested. Okay? And this murder, right, Bayzoo went to war for this murder and ended up getting out, and that's how he ended up recording that song Beat That Body with King Von. It's actually, his backstory is crazy. At Dirk Banks, Lil Dirk. Now, to be clear, only Bayzoo would be charged with the murder of Dominic, although Dirk too would eventually be charged with another murder following this arrest. But if you want to know more about that, go and watch my video, The Many Murders of Lil Dirk. Anyway, the investigative reports would later reveal that the police had in fact been after Bayzoo all the way since 2009, after a juvenile offender would provide them with some very specific information about the events that had preceded the murder, as if they had been there together with Bayzoo. For whatever reason, despite this information, the case would seemingly remain on hold until 2014, when an inmate at the Cook County Jail will provide essentially the same story from 2009, showing that there was seemingly a snitch amongst THF's ranks. According to the inmate, on July 5th, 2009, an altercation at the 50-yard line sports bar and grill on 69 East 7th Street had turned violent, and multiple people were shot after the altercation had spilled outside. Among those shot was allegedly a GD from THF, while the shooters were allegedly members of Dirty Low. Then, approximately 8 hours after the sports bar shooting, Bayzoo was allegedly out looking for revenge, entering a grey Chevy Monte Carlo alongside other THF members as they drove to the 4700 block of Forestville Avenue, where they spotted Dominic Barnes allegedly selling weed on the corner. They would approach Dominic and ask if he was from Dirty Low, and after receiving a confirmation, allegedly, Bayzoo immediately produced a .357 revolver and shot Dominic multiple times in the body. It had taken detectives almost 4 years to piece together the case, but finally, Bayzoo was charged for Dominic's murder, with local news, including Bayzoo's image in their reporting, while online media, like the legendary College Kids site that focused on the early drill culture, would highlight his connection to Lil Durk. However, despite having several cooperators identifying him as the shooter, after spending 4 years behind bars, Bayzoo would beat the charges, right around the same time as O-Block's most infamous killer turned rapper, King Von, would famously beat his murder charges, and together, they would jumpstart their rapping careers with their infamous collaboration, Beat That Body, dropping in 2018. But we're getting way ahead of ourselves, because as mentioned, this murder took all the way back in 2009, which tells you something about how long Bayzoo had allegedly been in the streets causing havoc.
I personally been on y'all since 07. Me, you know that. It's about 2012.
Also, you're probably wondering, who was that snitch that got Bayzoo in trouble for the murder of Dominic in the first place? Well, 2 years after that murder, another murder would take place. It was this one that would eventually begin to unravel everything. On the evening of July the 16th, 2011, only some hours after the murder of the alleged THF affiliate Lil Tony that we discussed earlier in this video, the Washington Park neighborhood would become the backdrop for another tragedy. 25-year-old Lorenzo Zoe Beasley, an alleged member of the GD set Met Boys, who controlled the northern end of the neighborhood, was sat in his parked vehicle at the 5200 block of South Martin Luther King Drive. At approximately 7 p.m., a small grey crossover SUV pulled up alongside Zoe's car, and the driver would lean out of the vehicle before firing multiple shots at Zoe, then fleeing northbound on King Drive. Zoe may have attempted to get himself to a hospital as his car was found crashed into a nearby tree, but unfortunately, he would later pass away after being taken there by medics. The case would remain unsolved for some months until the breakthrough came in September 2011, when the Chicago police would make an unrelated arrest in relation to an aggravated battery and firearm investigation, taking in an 18-year-old THF Barbara. Investigators learned that some months earlier in April, there had been a traffic stop not far from the murder scene concerning a car that matched the one used in the homicide. This car, having 3 people inside, including an unnamed occupant, Barbara, and a man named Rayford Shearer, also known as THF Bucky. A lineup was created during which 3 witnesses all identified Barbara as the shooter of Zoe, while Bucky was also identified as the driver. One of the witnesses would note that the offenders were members of the 4-6 Lawn Gang, the old name of THF, which at this time would have likely been better known as 4-6 Terror or 4-6 Hit Squad, and that they were at war with the Met Boys gang. The investigation eventually led to first-degree murder charges being filed against Barbara, with prosecutors arguing that the shooting was a targeted, gang-motivated assassination. But Bucky was seemingly eventually released without charges due to lack of evidence. Facing the possibility of up to 40 years if convicted at trial, Barbara opted for a plea agreement, eventually pleading guilty to reduce charges in exchange for a sentence of just 12 years in the Illinois Department of Corrections. The relatively lenient sentence raised a lot of eyebrows and fueled speculation that Barbara had cooperated with the police, specifically by giving out information in the 2009 murder of the Dirty Low member Dominic Barnes, the very case that Bayzoo ultimately beat. Bayzoo would later go on to make the allegation that Barbara had ratted on him, including in his 2023 No Jumper interview, while publicly disowning him as a member of THF.
I ain't never seen him. I ain't know he called himself THF, Barbara. But Barbara who he is, man, a rat. Barbara one of the ones who got down on me, blood on the body, you get what I'm saying? So a lot of these scatter shorty, they suck in his, whatever the situation is, he talk crazy, he get crazy, he act crazy. No respect coming from my way. That's all y'all need to know, man. Like,
Zoo alleged that Barbara's records must be sealed because even internet sleuths on Chiracology haven't been able to get their hands on them. However, he himself had the files to prove it.
On what y'all call that little site that be dropping all Chiracology.
Oh yeah.
Chiracology. Yeah. My whole caseload on Chiracology, you know what I'm saying? It's a lot of statements that I don't know if he got his sealed, because a lot of people caseload with their caseload, the witness name get blocked out only for trial. So you won't know your witness, or you won't get your witnesses killed like that in Chicago. But you know, I got the proper caseload for the simple fact that I'm the victim.
But Barbara defended himself against the allegations, saying that he wasn't cooperating, but just simply providing police with an alibi since he was already fighting his own murder case.
So what happened was when they asked Marty and T-Man or whatever, the two that got him charged, which is his homies, the older people down there, they spilled the beans and they told the truth. And I mean, they were telling more like this, right? Oh, no, bro, ain't in the car with us. You know, we ain't take bro nowhere. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So Zoo like, man, you pacing me with this, man, you bogus as hell. Like, look, give me your you know they gonna tell on you. All they had to do was the alibi was like who this how they come, you know, who where they took me to when I got in the car with them, you know. I ain't in the car with them, one of them. I don't know where the they went when they got in the car with each other. You know, they spoke about a gun. I ain't never saw no girl. I ain't never seen no girl. I don't know where they went, you know.
However, the available paperwork online appears to provide evidence that the snitching allegations might actually be true. Paper trail started after the 2009 murder of Dominic Barnes, during which detectives were notified about 16-year-old juvenile in custody who was willing to cooperate with investigators. This individual identified Bayzoo as the shooter and provided a detailed motive for the killing. Then, more than 5 years later, on June the 14th, 2014, while Barbara was serving his sentence for the murder of Zoe at the Cook County Department of Corrections, detectives visited the facility to speak about the Barnes murder with an inmate described as a 20-year-old African-American male born in 93, details that matched Barbara's profile, who would have been 20 at the time, with his 21st birthday approaching 11 days later. Crucially, none of the other suspects, witnesses, or cooperators in the Barnes case shared these specific biographical details. The information provided by this inmate was remarkably detailed and consistent with the statement given by the juvenile in 2009. It included the motive for the shooting, a complete rundown of events, identification of all the members involved, the weapon used, and even claims of Bayzoo's confession immediately after the crime. Most damningly, in what appears to have been an administrative error by Freedom of Information agent, one written report within the case paperwork had actually left Barbara's first name unredacted, strongly suggesting that Barbara's cooperation with the law enforcement extended beyond merely providing an alibi. These snitching allegations would cause THF and their allies to distance themselves from Barbara, and he would even get mentioned by a disappointed Lil Durk in an unrelated track with THF Lil Law, rapping about how he was hurt the most by those close to him who had snitched, before specifying Barbara by name. Now, as we know, Bayzoo would only be arrested for the murder of Dominic in 2014, but as mentioned in an earlier chapter, there are somewhat credible claims that Bayzoo would also catch another body the year before that in 2013. As we discussed in an earlier
So look, alright, I'm not going to go any further. If you want to find out about the next body in the video, you can go and watch the THF video, okay? But look, the whole point of this video was just to look at these allegations of Bayzoo going broke. He's clapped back, he's pulled up in the Corvette, got a whole bunch of cash with him, okay? Clearly this man is not going broke. And clearly this is not somebody to be played with, okay? He's been mentioned in the Dirk paperwork. I don't think that he is going to get associated with the trial. If he was just in the group chat, is what it is. But it is interesting that they're even mentioning him. So I just wanted to make this little update, give a little backstory, to be fair to THF Bayzoo, and, you know, publicize the fact that he's clapped back, showing off his money and saying that he's not broke. Okay, I don't think he's broke. I feel like he's possibly getting to the bag in ways that we can't even imagine. But if you want to know more about that and the war between THF and 051 and 6300, all of that stuff, man, go and check out that video, Chicago's Deadliest Gangs, THF, the Trigger Happy Family. I'm going to do another breakdown on some more news. I'm going to start doing a few throwback stories. I'm going to start doing a few non-hip-hop stories for you guys here very soon. I'm going to have a members-only video. Sorry to the members that joined. I haven't had a chance to do that video yet. I've just been so busy. But I'm probably going to do that today and drop a members-only video on the Epstein files on your head top, because I know a lot of people want to hear about that. So if you want to see that, you got to be a member, okay? You got to join the membership. I'm going to do that video probably today. That will be dropping soon. So stay tuned. Appreciate everybody for tapping in and enjoying the content. I'm going to be grinding it out today. I want to try and do 5 videos today. That is the plan. So I'm going to lock in, get a whole lot done. I got a whole bunch of notes here I'm looking at right now, a whole bunch of different stories that I know you guys are going to enjoy. So I'll catch you there. Appreciate it, and I'm out of here. Peace.